Our next guest did what many of us have done. He took something home from work. In this case, it was a blank DVD, and he was sacked for stealing. He fought it, but the Employment Relations Authority found his dismissal was justified. David Dumelow is with us, as is Employment Relations expert Max Whitehead. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Petra.
David, can I start with you? Do you think what you did was wrong?
In retrospect, yes.
So, why did you do it?
Well, I took the DVD to facilitate self-defence training, which I was running for the hospital security staff.
But the hospital said that you weren't working under their thing. Was it something that you were doing under your own steam?
No. I arranged the training with the full blessing of the hospital. I arranged it through the proper channels. I spoke to the site services manager. I told him that I'm a martial arts instructor and I have something that may be useful to his security staff. And he was very, very happy for me to run this training for them.
So there seems to be a disconnect here because the DHB said that they had no knowledge of it and they weren't part of it. What do you think has happened here? Because they're saying it's not a matter of cost, it's not about the 75 cents, it's a matter of principle.
I mean, looking back on it, in retrospect, I guess I should have clarified with the management that I was going to use the DVD for the training. But you know, I've never had to ask permissions to use the DVDs before any hospital-related activity. You know, the DVDs is kind of sitting on my desk. They're just like any other stationery, like a notepad and pen. You know, basically, I'm pretty autonomous on how I use this type of media.
So seriously here, it doesn't feel like the sacking was about a 75-cent DVD. Was your employment relations complicated and perhaps compromised, and therefore this was the reason that the DHB could find a sacking viable?
Well, I just think it's just way extreme, you know, to call me a thief, you know, just over a DVD that I was using for the benefit of the hospital to train the hospital security staff to facilitate this training, which you know, which is quite unique because, you know, I have this skill set as well as being employed as a technician at the hospital, you know, just doing something extra to help the hospital.
Were there any other complaints by your employer against you?
Not relating to dishonesty or theft.
Any other complaints, though?
There was a warning. I had a warning about not following certain protocols for a backup procedure. That was just one warning.
Because they're saying that there was a checkered career, complaints, warnings and performance management. So do you think this was over a DVD, or do you think this was the employer needing to...
Petra, what I think's happened, I wasn't at the hearing, but David represented himself against a hotshot lawyer. And the hotshot lawyer has gone through and amplified all the peripheral issues around it. And it appears that the centre issue, with the DVD, have been clouded the mind of the decision maker at the authority. And David's endeavoured to protect himself in the best he could with his DVD arguments. And I think this is what's clouded the thoughts of the authority. It's a very bizarre decision.
So what do you make of ERA's decision?
Well, it's going to set a landmark. I mean, here is the decision, and what it says, I find that a fair and reasonable employer would have concluded summary dismissal was appropriate in all the circumstances. That tells every employer out there, if someone steals a 15 cents or a 10 cent or a 75 cent DVD, you're going to be fired.
No, it doesn't seem that. It says that that could happen, not that that will happen. Does it not mean that, in fact, employees are going to need to be very careful? If they're in trouble, then they can't take anything home from work.
Absolutely, and nor they should. I mean, it's not appropriate to take things home. But Petra, I guarantee you've taken something home and accidentally put in your bag a biro, which is probably worth more than a 75-cent DVD.
So then it isn't about the cost of the item, is it? What is this about? What is the crux of the situation here, as far as employers saying it's very hard to dismiss people? What's happening?
Well, in this particular case, this has opened it right up. Employers, you can sack anybody. You go through their bag when they're going home and you find something that belongs to the employee. And we're all guilty of that. I'm sure we've put something like a pad or a pen in our bag, even if it's accidentally, and taken it home. So
does it just put the onus on employees to keep their noses completely clean if they are in any other sort of strife at work?
Yes, but the law has always said the employer has an obligation to notify people what is and what isn't allowed. So many people in workplaces I'm talking to are going, oh my God, I do it all the time. I've taken a pad home and I could get fired. It's not. I think it's really to do with personality in this particular case. The lawyer put a convincing argument up to the authority, and the authority's been clouded with this. But look at the practicalities of it. Is it reasonable that a man get fired? He hasn't worked for a year. He struggled. He couldn't afford my services. He defended himself the best he could. And he's still struggling with it.
What sort of penalty do you think would have been appropriate?
A warning.
And the DHB has been said it's within its rights as an employer. Are you going to appeal the decision, David?
I'm absolutely going to appeal, yeah.
So what are you going to defend yourself again? What hope have you got of succeeding?
Well, I'll just keep fighting it to the end. It's an injustice, to call me a thief over a DVD which I was using for the benefit of the trust. It's ridiculous. It makes no reason whatsoever.
And the court is ruled by fairness and equity, so the hope is that if David does defend himself, I'd like to help him, but he can't afford me. But I believe the courts will look at it with a fairness and actually ensure that a hotshot lawyer won't paint such a glamorous picture to say, aren't the DHB wonderful people?
If this is a dangerous president, would you consider representing him for free?
I would, and have been helping him quietly behind the scenes in presenting his case. So at this point in time, we're preparing his application to the court.
David Dumelow, sacked worker, and Max Whitehead, employment relations expert. Thanks for joining us on The Couch.
Thank you.
No worries, cheers.